The situation with the disbursement operation is that we've had two helicopters on standby since first thing this morning. The plan was to go out and target the fresh oil coming from the vessel. We've got international agencies here to help us monitor the effectiveness of that. Unfortunately, the weather hasn't cooperated. We've had 2 attempts to get out there. We've been turned back both times just past the beach because of low cloud cover. We remain on standby, and we'll keep the helicopters on standby until the weather allows us to go out, and we can make a definitive decision on whether or not the chemicals are effective on the fresh oil.
Lee, what's the latest projection you've got on the movement of the oil, and where will it come ashore tomorrow?
The trajectory projections that we've got are that it's coming ashore along the Mount Maunganui and Mara Beach areas. That's the fresh oil. We still expect there to be residual oil coming ashore from the earlier releases, which is likely to be spread more widely. We expect some of that to stretch from Waihi through to Matakana. We've had shoreline survey teams out today. They have confirmed that there is oil, sporadic patches of oil, just small globules that have come up at Waihi Beach. And there is the same situation along Matakana, as well as the heavier oiling that's been obvious around Mount Maunganui.
A question for Bruce Anderson, as he asked this yesterday. Is oil still continuing to leak from the Rena, and is more likely to keep on leaking? Are you expecting that it will be more likely to leak in this?
It's unknown at this stage whether there is leaking or not. Remembering that the ducted keel, which is the long part which goes along the whole length of the vessel, was initially filled with oil, and that the repositioning of the vessel has exposed new parts of that hull down the bottom where oil can escape. There may also be some damage to the fuel tanks, but that's unknown until we can get some divers down below and actually do a full survey of the hull below and see where things have changed. At this time, we are unable to determine the source of the oil. It's a different colour of oil. It's a grey. It's a much browner oil, so it looks like it's been used oil. So that leads us to think that it's the stuff in the duct keel rather than fresh stuff out of the tanks.
So potentially the duct keel would be ruptured at this point, and all of that would be leaking out?
Well, your duct keel, remember, goes the full length of the hull, and then it has the plating at the bottom. The vessel's being tilted in this direction, with this being the bow, and so all the oil is migrated up that. And so then if you change the attitude of that vessel, you expose parts where some of that oil can drift out of the vessel. So that's where we're thinking at the moment. However, until we get the divers down and can actually look at the hull and see what's changed, that's when it's going to tell us.
Can you give us an idea of the cost of all of this, of the clean-up, of the salvage operation, and who's going to pick up the tab?
No, I can't at this point. Obviously, it's in the millions already. As I said the other day, there's the vessel owner's liability under maritime law. There is also the insurance of the owner, but there will definitely, I'm sure, be some cost also to the government, depending on how long this thing goes on. So we're not focused at this point on the amounts. I have the ability of the Minister of Finance to grant extra funding if that's required. We haven't got that point.
Can somebody please explain what the previous experience the Awanuia and its improvement resources?
The Awanuia is a bunker barge. Its day job is to go around the port and harbour refuelling vessels as they come in. So it's designed primarily as a harbour vessel, or it might refuel off the islands in Auckland. It's not designed for rough seas. It's a small engine vessel, but at the moment they have top flight crew in it. In fact, the main master has come off leave to come back into this. We helicoptered him from Auckland last night to Tauranga, and then we winched him onto the Awanuia. He then tried again to reconnect the vessel into the Rena, and that's when they had the collision and put the hole into the boat. So
I understand the stage of, but has it even taken fuel off?
I couldn't answer that. fuel transfers. That's the whole point of it, remembering that when it goes to pick up its fuel, it's bringing the fuel onto it. So they're absolutely versed with being able to do that.
And when will it be back in action?
It's back in action now, because there's no salvage crew on board the vessel. It's no point sending it out there to sit in the station. So once they've done that, I talked with the master of the Awanuia just before I came down here. He's developed a different plan and a different way of attacking the problem so that he can come in stern on this time rather than bow on. They've re-rigged all their hoses so that and they've got different shape of fenders and different structures with anchors out. So they've actually redeveloped a completely different plan about how they can back in effectively and start transferring oil really quickly. But remember that the salvage crew has to get back on. They have to get the vessel back running again with the engines, and they also have to reheat the oil because they closed off all the systems, blanked out all the vents, so they have to go back and refurbish that vessel.
Are you looking at putting the salvage?
We're going to have to wrap this up shortly, so I'll take one more
What's
question.
the injury? Can you tell us what it is? Broken bones, broken legs?
No broken bones. The naval rating has no broken bones, but he has sustained some injuries to his leg and will not be sailing with the vessel at the moment.
What's the name of the vessel that's bringing the crane, and when is it expected it'll arrive?
The crane is down the track. So the first one is they're bringing a small container vessel which has its own independent cranes already on it. So that's the primary option. That's due to arrive here on Thursday. And then the one with the barge with a locally sourced heavy lift crane will come at a later stage.
Do you know the name of the vessel?
Polcoma, P-O-L Coma, something.
I've heard plans for Mount Maunganui and Papa Moore. I was wondering what strategies are in place for more titi and matakana, and how much of a priority are they? Are they on a priority list, or are they something later on you want to cover?
Thank you. The strategies around response options of reducing the threat of oil on board the vessel right through to looking at what's happening along the shoreline and the oiling, general oiling that's happening all around the shorelines of Motiti, Matakana and further south. And basically we're looking at the dirty grunt job of cleaning up oil off the beaches. When it hits rocky foreshore, it becomes very hard to actually clean up off the rocky foreshore. Often there's a lot of weathering issues, there's a lot of personal health and safety issues around combating oil on rocky foreshores as well. But our key area is to keep our people safe as much as to clean up the oil. So we are looking at a significant amount of oil hitting the beach, and it's going to be a dirty job to actually sweep through and clean up the oil at the end of each tidal cycle, which is about 12 hours.
Nick, it initially said that it would take 40 hours to pump the oil off the ship, and you're out there the other night pumping, you got 10 tons overnight operation. Is there a new indication of how long this might take?
Once they connect the Awanuia up, that timer still stands as 30 to 40 hours. So it's about connecting the Awanuia up to the Rena, and then once they've got that, they can pump through, and it's anticipated it would take between 30 and 40 hours.
Just the other night when you're out there, I mean, you originally reported that it was an overnight mission, that you were out there pumping the night, and then got 10 tons off.
From
that rate, it would take 10 weeks.
From when they connected up
Yep.
to when they disconnected, they got 10 tonnes. That was at about the first hour and a half. When they start these operations, they don't go and pull the tap full force. They actually start in an incremental and measured way, because they want to be able to check that all the lines that they're actually in hoses and all the couplings are stable and able to be used. Then over time, they start increasing the volume of oil being transferred. Now, they broke off before that and separated off and moved off to a safe distance. So at that time, they hadn't ramped up to full pumping.
Why did that happen?
Because of the weather.
Bruce, the duck keel has been the problem for pretty much since Wednesday with the amount of oil in there. The early estimates were about 100 tonnes of oil in there. Is there any more recent update on the amount of oil that may have leaked into the duck keel before everyone was evacuated?
Every 6 hours they would do soundings, so they would actually measure how much oil is in every single tank around the place. Now that wasn't the ship's folk doing it, that was my salvage liaison person, so it was an independent verifier.
So is there a number more than 100 now that could be estimated?
We can't tell that because the vessel shifted, and so that's changed the way we haven't been able to do soundings because the weather was too rough to be able to do those soundings at that particular time.
Are you attempting to put salvage crew on the ship tonight?
As soon as weather permits, they will get on. The salvage master is currently on a chopper, assuming that it was able to get off, resurveying the vessel along with my special casualty representative and the like. So they're trying to get on as soon as they can.
Bruce, do you know the name of the explosive material that's on the boat and what the risks are with that?
What explosive material?
Well, if it mixes with water or there's something on the cargo that's...
There's ferrosilicate, which is a chemical that if you add water to it, it can produce flammable gas. There was one container that was underwater. The salvage crew identified this container and they took samples of the water to check whether there was any leaking in the container. That sample showed that there was no leaking in the container, and they've been monitoring that to make sure. All other dangerous goods containers are in a safe position